Hey everyone, you're listening to InfoQuench with Jeff
and Amy,
a podcast with tips to make your life easier.
Covering pop culture, parenting, travel, minimalism, and more.
Oh, Canada. Yes, Canada is going to be 152 years old this year.
Yes, July 1st is Canada Day.
And so to celebrate Canada Day, we thought, well, what's a better way to celebrate Canada Day in an InfoQuench podcast is to bring to you guys all the amazing inventions. I know it's riveting stuff, but there's some very interesting information behind it all. Interesting, mostly Canadian, but some Atlantic Canadian inventions.
Yeah, and some right here in St. John.
And there's one in St. John that is pretty much used in every single household. I'll give you like 2 seconds to figure that out. Okay, so now I'll tell you. It's the Vortex toilet. Believe it or not, was invented in, I will get it. It was we gotta do it again.
So now you appreciate how hard my job is with the information.
We're going to continue. This is the way we're going to do it.
Jeff
1907.
Jeff was trying to get the information up on the screen so he could read it. And normally he relies on me for the notes, but I love this because he's like trying to click and point his face at the mic. Okay,
Thomas McCavity Stewart of St. John, New Brunswick patented his idea for a vortex flushing toilet, making that whole business a little less crappy. Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, that's pretty amazing. That's probably St. John's. I find that so hilarious in a way that is our claim to fame for inventions. That's got to be the most popular or well-known invention.
Well, definitely the most well-used, right?
Oh, yeah, definitely.
We do have some other St. John, another St. John invention that's really popular that I'll mention a little later on in the episode. But there are so many great inventions that Canadians have come up with over the years that we have so much to be proud of. So this episode is really about celebrating Canada and our wonderful, innovative people.
I have to admit that I was quite surprised by some of these inventions. I don't even know which ones you have written down just from, just looking right now.
Well, let's start with this. The first one I had on my list was peanut butter.
What? Peanut butter?
I freaking love peanut butter. Peanut butter, well, it's awesome, right? It's just a great source of protein.
No, I mean, really, it was invented here. I knew you loved peanut butter.
Oh,
honey.
Okay. Oh, yeah.
Really? You love peanut butter? I know you do.
I do love peanut butter. Yeah, no, it was a Montreal pharmacist, Marcellus Gilmore Edson, patented in 1884. That's how long it's been around.
Wow.
And it was brought about because he needed a food option that would give people protein, a source of protein for people who weren't able to chew.
Oh.
So peanut butter was, a great, and I know a lot of people use it even today as a main source of protein, particularly if you're vegetarian. I know that if you're, if you've got children in school, and we have nut-free schools nowadays, so it's not an option for that. But if you, I just love, there's nothing like peanut butter on toast.
No, I know.
The smell of peanut butter on toast.
It is fantastic.
And
I'm so surprised that it was created here. And proud, That's kind of cool.
Our son Hux loves peanut butter, and he knows it's funny. Jeff went to make it for him one morning, and it was a school day, and he was like, "No, I can't have that peanut butter," because
he refused to eat it.
Well, he knew that he was going to school, and they have a nut-free school, and he had some of his classmates that are allergic to peanuts, so he didn't want to risk having any kind of peanuts on him. So
I know, and I'm like, I'll wash your face. Don't worry about it.
But no, he's really conscientious, and
that's really cool.
So it's
actually.
sort of a special treat we reserve for on the weekends. But so peanut butter right here from Canada,
and Vortex toilets,
so when
just don't combine the two.
When you get to dispose of the peanut butter, you can do it Vortex style.
This podcast is going downhill, baby. down the pipes,
down the drain. Hockey sticks. The earliest version of the commercial hockey stick was made by Micmac carvers in Nova Scotia.
Wow.
And that was in the early 1800s, early to mid 1800s, and it was made out of hornbeam wood. I don't know what hornbeam wood is.
No, me neither.
Apparently it's great wood for making hockey sticks.
I've never heard of the hornbeam tree. Don't cut down all the hornbeam trees.
So the hockey stick thing wasn't really that surprising because, I mean, we love our hockey.
We do love our hockey. You don't love our hockey, but people do love our hockey.
Yeah, me personally.
You don't watch hockey. Is
No,
where I
I
was going with
don't.
that.
I don't. I'm not a big sports watcher.
No.
Let's go a little bit less sports, more into medical.
Ah.
I'm going to get a little bit more detail on this, but I thought that this was really something to be proud of. The pacemaker is a Canadian invention. So
Wow.
this first subcutaneous, so like below the skin, pacemaker was built in 1949 by a Canadian engineer, John Hops, and he also worked with two Toronto-based cardiac surgeons, Bigelow and Callahan.
Huh. Wow.
So according to the National Research Council of Canada, Dr. Bigelow thought that the only way that cardiovascular medicine could advance was by enabling open heart surgery. So that's when they decided to work on the pacemaker. He believed the body needed to be cold in order to slow down the heart. And through the research and experiments, they noticed that an electrical pulse could restart the heart when they were doing this. So then they decided to tap into the genius of an electrical engineer named Hops, and Hops helped them build a clinical device.
Wow.
So sort of, yada, 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 down the road, Seinfeld style.
Yada,
I'll skip
yada,
over
yada.
some of the, but they came up with the first implantable pacemaker in 1958. And it was used on a Swedish man who, thanks to the device, he lived to 86 years of age.
And where in Canada in particular was that created, or does it say?
Well, the cardiac surgeons were based out of Toronto.
Oh, Toronto, right? Okay.
But it was sort of there were several people involved with it, and so the Swedish guy who had the first pacemaker, the device had to be frequently recharged. I have no idea how they did that.
How did they do that? They just plug them in like a USB.
I just picture us searching around for our iPad chargers or iPhone chargers. Could be like, oh, honey, where'd you put my pacemaker charger? And he has to sit by the plug.
They were pretty primitive in the early days. Now they're just kind of little devices, but I can imagine it was like the equivalent of probably like, a home computer in your body.
Well, yeah. Can you imagine having to like the stress of that? I get stressed out when my phone is down to 5%. I can imagine if my pacemaker was down to 5%. I'd be like, honey, where's that damn charger? This is important stuff.
Your facemaker is doing just great, honey.
Thanks, honey.
You're welcome.
Facemaker, the new photo editing
Stop
software.
making faces at me.
Walkie-talkies.
Yes, walkie-talkies.
They were also invented.
Became pivotal during war.
So Don Hings,
and security guards.
He invented what he called it a pack set in 1937. So when Canada declared war on Germany, 2 years later, he went to Ottawa and he redeveloped this whole pack set to the device that is now known as a walkie-talkie and used for military use.
Yeah. That makes sense.
Yeah.
And where was that guy from again?
Canada.
They didn't. Canada, yeah.
Well,
didn't specify.
But then he went to Ottawa to develop
Ontario
to do
probably.
the developments to make the device, the pack set, into a walkie-talkie that was used. Well, based on the years, I said 2 years later in Germany, that would have been for the Second World War.
Oh, well, there you go. You learn something new every day, people. You do on InfoQuench anyway.
Paint rollers.
Really?
Yeah.
Sims Brush Factory would have been?
Did they do rollers too, or just
Well, they
brushes?
did everything that involved painting, I do believe.
Well, the original paint roller was invented in 1940 in Toronto by Norman Brecky.
Oh, yeah.
Brecky.
You say Brecky, I say Brecky.
But he died before he was able to patent it and profit from it. That happens so often with paint rollers.
Patent pending, and you don't want that to run out before run out.
The patent ended up being held by an American, Richard Croxton Adams. An American swept in and got the patent.
Of course.
But for the record, the paint roller was invented originally by a Canadian.
From Ontario, too, probably.
They're a bugger to wash, paint rollers.
Yeah. I
I remember doing like some painting when I was a kid, and we would just like roll it up into saran wrap and just save it for the next day rather than wash it and start it over in the paint can the next day.
Yeah, there's certain little tools that you can get that wrap right around and you just squeegee it out.
Oh yeah.
You can just,
you did that for a while, didn't you?
Yeah. I painted houses in British Columbia for a while. Yeah.
Was that before or after the Navy?
That was much after the Navy.
But before Korea.
Before Korea.
Jeff has a very interesting timeline.
I like to keep things fresh, you know?
If I piece together episodes of this podcast down the road, I might have an actual understanding of what the timeline of his life entailed, because I have no idea.
You know. It's just, you know me, I'm not very good with dates. I know what I did. I just can't tell you when I did it.
Every once in a while you just throw in, like I was in traveling theater. That time I was in the commercial. That time I worked a forklift. I'm like, I'm just hoping it's not that time you were in jail and I'm happy.
You know what though? You have those things that you've done in your life too that you probably just haven't shared with me.
Yeah, they're just not quite as exciting.
Yeah, well, believe me, riding a forklift is not very exciting or front end loader or anything like that. Although I still could do that these days.
Odometers. They were invented in Canada in 1854.
So they must have been installed in the first cars ever made.
Well, it was actually
amongst them.
It was long before cars. So a Nova Scotia inventor. So we're here in New Brunswick, so not far from us, the next province over, Nova Scotia. An inventor named Samuel McKean created a device that measured distance with every revolution of a carriage wheel. But though to be fair, everyone from, I guess, a gentleman named Vitruvius to Ben Franklin were also working on
Vitruvius.
it. But I guess Samuel McKean was sort of the first out of the gate with getting an actual odometer working. So it was used on the carriage wheel, and then later on, obviously, we used them on our vehicles.
It must have been exciting back then coming up with these things for the very, very first time.
Well, yeah, like there were, it was Ben Franklin and Thomas Edison, like their lives were just spent around inventing.
No, I know. There was no like prehistoric Shark Tank for them to go on.
I know, can you imagine? What a great Saturday Night Live skit that would be.
It would be good, yeah. So we got this thing, it's called a wheel. And yeah, for that reason I'm out. Yeah, it just doesn't roll with me. For that reason I'm out.
Do you get the patent on that thing? No. You're done.
I don't know why I gave them a New York accent. I got this thing. It's called a wheel, Anyway, yeah.
Yeah, I can just see it. I could see they're up there with like the light bulb or the telephone. And like everyone's going to be talking on it. And just fighting over who's going to be in on the deal. Garbage bags. Garbage bags were invented in Winnipeg.
Great. Something that doesn't biodegrade and ruins our planet. Thanks a lot, Winnipeg.
Well, they serve their purpose until
I know. We use them.
Something better
Everybody
came along.
uses them, but we shouldn't. What are we going to do, though? We're just going to put out our garbage with no bag?
Two guys named Harry and Larry in Winnipeg.
Really?
Yeah.
Harry and Larry.
Harry
Brothers?
Wazalik and Larry Hansen.
It would have been better if they were brothers.
Harry and Larry. No, they weren't brothers. Well, they might have been. Brothers from other mothers.
I wonder if Larry was Harry. I don't know,
but...
Maybe Harry was Larry.
Perhaps.
Anyway.
So, yeah, in Winnipeg, 1950, the green polyethylene garbage bag was invented, and it was bought by Union Carbide, who then sold the bags under the name of Glad.
Mm-hmm. And then poisoned a lot of people.
What?
Union Carbide. Look it up.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, this podcast just took a little dark turn.
Well, you know what?
I thought
I'm not a fan of garbage
it would
bags.
Be a big smile.
And I don't know, if you're outside of Canada, they're proposing to do away with all plastic here in our country in what year? I can't remember. Like 2 or 3 years from now, which is great, I think. Single-use plastics.
Yes.
Anyway, that's not what we're talking about.
No, but that's important though. I think we are definitely that's an exciting thing. We're moving along. We're finally realizing that we're horrible people that are destroying the environment.
That's
and we're
right.
Trying to make some changes, hopefully not too little too late. So there were Harry and Larry, but around the same time, there's an honorable mention of a third Canadian in Toronto, Frank Plomp.
Oh, yeah. Mr. Plomp.
Yeah, and he doesn't just get a mention because of that amazing last name.
Right.
But he did invent a similar product.
I wonder if he was
So he's often credited as a co-inventor.
I wonder if he was plump because he could be the plump plomp.
Plump plomp.
Sorry.
Instant-
I am really butchering jokes this time.
Instant replay was invented in Canada. Can you guess which show that would have been for? When is instant replay super important?
Well, the Olympics.
Well, okay, close. So it's for sports. But it was a CBC television
Hockey?
producer.
No.
He used a kinescope, and he created the first ever instant replay in 1955 during a broadcast of Hockey Night in Canada.
Hockey Night in Canada, right? And they still go to the tape. They still call it go to the tape, but they don't use tape anymore.
Do they still say that?
Oh yeah.
It's interesting how we
tape?
don't give up, like, those sayings, right?
Yeah. But you're gonna check the tape. Yeah.
And I mean, instant replay has been used so much. Well, and you mentioned the Olympics because they're always, looking to compare photo footage when they're trying to figure out world records in particular. And
Well, the photo finish, right?
Yes.
When it's just you don't really know in horse racing.
what did I say?
too.
Photo records?
Photo records? I don't know what you said.
Yeah,
I knew it was wrong.
I knew.
So I had to correct you.
Well, thank you. Thank you for saving me on that one.
No problem, baby. That's what I'm here for.
Road lines.
That and the odd joke. Road lines, really?
Yeah, the first road lines in the entire world were painted on a stretch of highway between Ontario and Quebec in 1930. They were invented by the Ontario Department of Transport by an engineer named John Miller.
What did they do before that? They just drove anywhere?
I don't know. Well, I mean, in the country, we don't have, I say we, I grew up we live in St. John, New Brunswick, but I grew up a little bit more out into the country in Hampton.
20 minutes away.
Yeah, we didn't.
The outskirts.
But out where we don't have lines on the roads and traffic lights. And
You do now, though.
You just have ditches to stop you from going off.
No, there are lines on the roads now, honey.
No, not always.
Oh.
No, there's a lot of secondary
Oh,
roads
you mean
that don't
like
have lines.
you mean like the back roads where?
Yeah. Well, there's a ton of back roads that don't have lines on
No,
them.
I agree with that. I thought you meant like
We just know
the regular
roughly where
town
to
folk.
drive.
Yeah,
Roughly.
that makes sense.
And I know that
Then they got really complicated, eh? Like they were like, let's just put dots on them and like lines and broken lines and turning things.
well, they have
confuse
meaning.
people. What? Yeah. Oh, I know they all have meaning, and they But I'm just saying they went from like one line to like all kinds of lines. It was like graffiti artists.
Robertson Screw.
Oh yeah, really?
Right?
That's his last name, Screw?
No,
Weird.
the screw that
The
is
screwdriver, you mean?
Well, but it was a screw first, and then obviously he came up with the screwdriver to drive the screw.
Well, I hope so. Otherwise, there would be a bunch of screws not screwed in. You need a Robertson.
Okay. It's
Right?
like the chicken and the egg.
People
It
would
was
have all kinds of screws with nothing to do with them. They have butter knives and shit.
like nothing. Oh,
Yeah.
oh, that was close, honey.
I said it.
Butter
I
knives
said
and
the other word.
shivs.
I said the
Shivs,
other
like they
word for
use in
poop.
prison.
So what? iTunes, take me to jail.
So in 1908, I always have to
What
say
accent
the old.
was that, honey?
It was the old year accent.
The old year.
When I say those old years,
1908. It's like the Queen. You sound like the Queen. Do it again. Come on. In
1908.
Oh God, I love your accents. Do the Australian accent,
That
and then
was-
we'll
I
move
think
on.
that was it.
No, we'll just move on and say.
I don't know how to
throw
say
another
Australian
shrimp
accent.
on the Barbie.
That's the
your-
only
yeah,
line
but go,
I know
go
in
for
Australia.
It. Try to do it as an
In
Australian.
1908, after we threw another shrimp on the Barbie,
I love it.
there was
All
a
right,
tool
continue.
salesman.
A
And
who?
his na-
A tool? Okay.
A
tool salesman.
tool
Gotcha.
salesman.
Gotcha.
It's going downhill fast. His name was Peter Robertson. He was from Milford, Ontario, and he cut his hand. I know, devastating. He cut his hand because he was trying to use a typical slot-headed screw and screwdriver, which obviously, that little slit, it just slid right out, cut his hand. And the injury led him to invent a new type of screw, one with a square-shaped head, which is the Robertson screw.
So Robertson was responsible for that. So who did the flathead? Was that Joey Flathead? Was that? Did he Did he have a
The
flat
guy
head?
with the cut up hands and the flat head.
Yeah, the cut up hands. These are the screwdriver people of Canada, everybody.
So it's interesting. So when you think about it, though, I had never really thought about it much, but there are obviously all these different types of screws.
You're not thinking about screws and screwdrivers all day?
I don't know, but because it has that square opening, the screwdriver doesn't slip out, right? So the square-shaped socket on the screw's head makes it much harder for it to slip out, and so it makes it easier just to fasten things. And people in the construction industry were thrilled with the new Robertson screw, and probably even more thrilled when they came up with the Robertson screwdriver.
I know, because they can use them in tandem. It's amazing.
So
It's amazing stuff.
Out of Ontario.
What's the next invention?
Super proud
honey?
of that. Egg cartons.
Egg cartons were created here?
Yeah. Newspaper editor Joseph Coyle of Smithers, British Columbia, found an excellent new use for paper in 1911.
I'm going to pretend you didn't say that.
And yeah, he came up with egg cartons.
But they went from something that was made out of recycled paper, the traditional egg cartons, to like these styrofoam crap things now.
I know, and now we have to get rid of styrofoam and go back to.
It can't be recycled.
I know.
It can't be, it doesn't biodegrade. I sound like a crazy environmentalist. I'm not, but I am at the same time. I try. Okay? I try. You all should try it. Everyone listening, do your recycling.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, for goodness sakes, do your recycling.
That is tangent number 57.
The wheelchair accessible bus was also invented. So Walter Harris Callow was a blind quadriplegic veteran, and he invented the first wheelchair accessible bus in 1947. And he took his first and only ride after death, when his body was transported for his funeral.
Oh, great! Now this took a real macabre, whatever the word is, turn. He doesn't even remember the ride.
I know.
That's sad. Don't tear up, honey.
That's okay,
It's
but
okay.
we remember him now. And that's cool.
And yeah,
so thank you, Mr. Callow. That was a very amazing
rest
invention.
in peace, Callow.
But also the electric wheelchair itself was invented in Canada by one of Canada's most accomplished inventors, George Klein, in 1953. He
It's
was
a good
from
thing
Ontario.
you said wheel, because then it would have been the electric chair, and that wouldn't have been good.
Also used by him after death. No, God.
Oh boy, we're gonna get nasty
boy.
emails.
No.
No one writes letters anymore.
No, they don't. Fiberglass goalie mask. Not surprising. It was invented by a former Montreal Canadiens goaltender, Jacques Plante.
I knew that.
Oh, I should have did that as a quiz.
That. I knew that because he was injured one too many times.
Yeah, he was tired of getting hit in the face by pucks.
Did you ever see a picture of his face? Like,
No.
Oh my God, it looks like it.
Hamburger?
Yes. There's all these crevices and valleys and stuff, and it's nuts. It truly is nuts. Like, maybe we can use that to promote this podcast, because Jacques Plante's face before he decided.
Will people listen when they see the picture?
I hope so. Yeah, I hope so. But that's two hockey related things.
So he wore it for during a game for the first time in 1959 after being hit in the face by a puck during a Canadiens New York Rangers game.
Yeah.
So after getting stitched up, he told his coach, Toe Blake, he wouldn't play without his mask. And despite Blake's initial objections, I wonder what his objections would have been.
I think they're crazy for like playing without a mask. Who in their right mind wants to get in front of a frozen hard puck and just have it hit you in the face?
So despite his coach's objections, Plante went on to wear his mask, and he immediately led the Canadiens to an 18-game winning streak, silencing those who mocked him.
Yeah, he was mocked.
Really?
Well, I wasn't there, but like I've heard that people were booing him.
Like, what were they saying? Like,
just
wimp, you have to wear a mask.
Yeah,
I don't know. Like what? I don't.
They
even
were actually chanting
that.
You wimp, you have to wear a mask. Thousands of people at the same time.
They should have came up with something a little more clever.
You wimp. Oh, poor Jacques Plante going through that.
Let's talk about New Brunswick. Baggage tags were invented right here in New Brunswick.
Wow.
Thank God for baggage tags.
Well, geez, that's just an idea, not an invention. That's an idea, honey.
Well,
all inventions are ideas, but like the thought that just, I'm going to put this on my bag so I know it's mine. That's not an invention. That's just somebody decided to do it.
Okay, well, are you going to take that credit away then from John Michael Lyons of New Brunswick, who changed travel when he invented the first baggage tag in 1882?
Yes, I am.
He came up with the revolutionary document, a tag.
That's not a revolutionary document.
That contained information.
That's another idea like Jacques Plante's that everybody should have already had.
The document contained information about the bag's point of departure, destination, and the owner. Brilliant.
Well, if they did it and they didn't include the owner, that would have been a real,
Why did it take them
piece.
till 1882 to come up with this?
I don't know. Next one. That's the ridiculous one. That's not even an invention. That's just an idea.
I guess they didn't really need bag tags until they did a lot of traveling where you were having bags on trains and planes. And...
Like you can't just take a piece of string. This is what I imagine it is, a piece of string and like a piece of paper, and get your little ink pen out and write, "This bag belongs to," what's his name? I don't know.
John Michael Lyons.
John Michael Lyons
from New Brunswick.
Like you can't just say
that's your 1882 accent.
There, now I've invented something. It's like, what? No, you just came up with an idea that everybody should have already had.
Well, that's what inventions are.
I know, but that's not an invention. He didn't invent the paper. He didn't invent the string.
He invented the whole concept.
He invented a concept, yes. But
I know, but there's some...
All right, let's give it to him. What's the next one? I'm upset with that guy.
What about the vortex toilet? They didn't invent the toilet. They didn't invent the water. They invented the vortex toilet water. I want to finish with St. John, our home city.
What about it? What did they invent here?
Let's just say that our city is...
kindness.
Yeah. Well, our city's amazing. We live in St. Awesome.
St. Awesome.
And if you are listening from away and you have not been to our city, you've got to come here. We've got so much going on. We've got amazing restaurants.
It's small but fun.
It's small but fun. Well, it's actually...
That should go on our license
quite
plates.
Big, but geographically it's quite large. But it is, we have tourists that come here all the time, talk about how friendly we are. We have just...
Except those jerks.
Which
the
jerks?
roaming jerks in St. John.
Yeah, the roaming jerks.
The gang of them. No, it is a really,
Oh, we're on the beautiful Sea of Fun Day.
Oh, whoa.
Whoa,
no
Bay
more
of...
Aperol Spritz for you. You've been outed.
See us on the Bay of Fun Day is what I was going for. We'll
That's
just go with that. But it's foggy here.
Yeah.
And the foghorn was invented here. So how do ships avoid dangerous spots if the captain and crew can't see a thing? Well, the answer is a foghorn, which was invented in St. John, New Brunswick by Robert Foulie. He invented the first steam-powered foghorn. It worked a lot like a tea kettle. So compressed steam was forced out of a long pipe to produce a loud whistling sound. And he spent 6 years trying to convince the Lighthouse Commission here in St. John to install his foghorn at the nearby Partridge Island.
6 years? What a battle.
I know. And it was finally installed in 1859. And soon after, people around the world began to build horns for their own foggy ports. Sadly, though, he never patented it, so he died in poverty in 1866. But the steam-powered foghorn served as a key navigational tool for over a century until electronic aids became more common.
He should have teamed up with the guy who did the lights. Then they could have shared the profits, because you take the foghorn and the lights from the lighthouse, and you get the full package.
Oh, there you go.
I'm just saying, how is it
it's
that
a Shark Tank partnership?
How is it that somebody different created the upper portion of that building, and then the foghorn guy's down on the bottom, or maybe he's not on the bottom. I don't know. Maybe they're both up top there.
I was just talking to somebody recently who was saying when they decommissioned the foghorn on Partridge Island, there were a lot of people who put up a fuss because they had grown to love it so much. And I know I hear the ships and I hear the foghorns now. We live very close to the water here in Uptown St. John, and I love the sound of the foghorns. I love fog. It's like,
yeah, me too.
It's atmospheric. It's like you're walking
air conditioning
among the clouds, and it's just it's like a nice cool hug.
That's right. Speaking of a nice,
I
cool
love our foggy
hug,
city.
we're going to give you guys a nice, cool hug goodbye. Thank you so much for listening.
Proud to be Canadian.
Proud to be Canadian.
Hope you enjoyed
Happy
the episode.
Canada Day.
Hope you learned something. Yes, Happy Canada Day from InfoQuench.
Check us out on all of the social media places. Anyways, thanks everybody.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Thanks for listening.
Be sure to visit InfoQuench.com to subscribe and catch up on past episodes.
You can also check out InfoQuench on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram.
Till next time.